Hey everybody, welcome back again to another video. So, previously dropped the first outcomes from Season 1. Oh boy, it's a doozy. It's a really long, so let's not waste any time, let's get right into it. TLDR, we recommend reading the full blog below to get all the details and context, but here's a quick look at some of the updates coming when Season 2 launches on May 3rd. Audio, the ability to hear an opponent's shield recharge sound will be reduced to prevent providing too much info about a player's location. The volume of the ground birthday party sound effect will be increased in campaign. Yeah, I kind of felt that it was like too low, so glad they're addressing that. Catalyst, which is a new map that they showed off before, will be added to multiple playlists on day 1. King of the Hill being added. Attrition will be added to multiple playlists. And Attrition, a revived player will be able to move immediately after spawning back in. Motion Tracker will have its outer edge detection enabled for shooting and sprinting. In social, BTB, Breaker, new map. Jeff Stipe's voice is returning to call out player earned medals. Good. I thought it already should have been there, but hey, better than ever. Issue causing asymmetrical weapon rack spawns have been addressed. Matchmaking. Rather than track a player's entire session, the CSR progression bar will now reflect the progress made from their most recent match. Custom games in Forge. Oh, anyway, moving on. They were talking about bugs to be addressed. Personal AI and Spartan chatter. Balance adjustments were made to emphasize what's most important. PC. Notable stability improvements. The team has resolved dozens of crashes. Sandbox. Networking. Melee fights should be more consistent with the points quote-unquote phasing through each other less and whiffing less when a melee should have connected. Weapons. A global melee damage decrease of 10% on all weapons and will require the Mangler to land 2 shots in a beatdown. The Ravager's base shot will see a damage decrease. Good. Because I heard it, because I think it was nerfed to hell from the flights. Anyway, moving on. The friend or foe recognition player outlines will now have options allowing players to modify the opacity and thickness based on their preferences. Equipment. Drop ball will see slight performance increases. Overshield will provide slightly more shielding. Vehicles. Chopper collision will be increased to its vehicle splattering glory. Banshee's ability and damage output will be improved to improve its role as a strike fighter. The Warhawk and the Razorback should be more resistant to flipping and bouncy. Accessibility. Feedback. Desire for an auto sprint option. Accessibility team responses feedback. Desire for an auto sprint option. It continues to be an area they want to focus and improve on, and we believe that feedback from the game and disability community is at the forefront. They receive feedback that folks are looking for more ways to configure movement to be accessible, including more options making sprint accessible. They are currently investigating ways that can be created. Feedback. Desire for more colorblind. The ability to configure friend and enemy colors for colorblind needs or color preferences has been received positively, but players are looking for additional settings. The UX/UI team is currently investigating options, more color-based options based on pain points for players, like damage colors, etc. They are also prioritizing exposing these individual settings over a color channel, as we see in favor from the community that those are more viable. Feedback. Desire for an audio visualization feature and auto visualization feature remains the most design implementation heavy of the requests. They are in very early exploratory stages, but they are committed to the goal of making Halo Infinite fully playable without audio, with the same information that players who play with audio will receive. Audio. Even more audio. Shield recharge sound effect on opponents is loud, providing too much information. Feedback. Dynamo grenades provide audio hit ticks, allowing them to serve as audio hit markers in reg settings. Feedback. Ground birthday party sound is too quiet. They've talked about that before. Reports of issues hearing players and shots behind you. Feedback. Shield recharge sound on opponents is loud, providing too much information. Feedback. Dynamo grenades provide audio hits, allowing them to serve as in rank settings when grenade hit markers should be disabled. We appreciate all the feedback to the community on the audio. Since launch, they received feedback regarding the audio mix balance and multiplayer. Recently released a mixed tuning as part of the mid-season update in February. Since then, they continue to work on more detailed tuning to further improve the mix based on community feedback. One specific feedback received that the third-person shield recharge sounds too loud, which provides too much locational info when the enemy is hiding. Given away location in response to this, they have turned down the volume slightly and increased the autistic filter to any which will release as part of Season 2. They have also called out that Dynamo grenade hit detection sounds so triggers in ranked modes, even though other grenade hit detection are disabled in ranked. The fixes likely won't be ready by Season 2, but they will be addressed in a future update. The community also shared a helpful note for campaign audio that Grunt Birthday Party sounds a little quieter than past sounds. It's not as satisfying. We appreciate the note very much, and they turned up the volume of it. As auto frame of greater distance, the change will be coming with Season 2. Next up, Multiplayer Academy. Media players would like longer or untimed weapon drills. We agree, and you can expect endless weapon drills to come in Season 2. Awesome. Feedback. Desire for more arena maps and modes. Bring attrition back to matchmaking. Quick play. Feedback and attrition. They wanted the ability to move while reviving a fallen teammate to be able to move immediately after being revived. Feedback. Many players would like elimination of peer matchmaking so they can unlock the medic achievement. Note. Confusion around motion tracker ranges. First feedback. Desire more modes. We, like all of you, want more maps and modes. I have a list of them we're working on for future release Season 2. We have an updated version of King of the Hill that we'll be able to play in both in matchmaking and customs, along with being able to set a classic version. You'll also see a lot of updates to place, including the addition of the new Catalyst Arena map and attrition going to quick play. Over this season, our goal is to rotate in some new playlists with some fun variants we've been playtesting a lot lately. Feedback and attrition, players want the ability to move while reviving a teammate, and to be able to move immediately after being revived. With attrition going to matchmaking, we are tweaking the revive mechanic slightly to no longer quote-unquote pause. Revive player, they spawn back in. Initially, this was intended as a bouncing mechanic to revive, but after playing it more in the wild, we decided the risk of the revive act itself was enough of a risk-reward. The interaction to revive down teammates will remain the same for now, but they're excited about some revisions and working on future updates for attrition that will change this mechanic more. Next up, feedback would like to see elimination appear in matchmaking so they can unlock the medic achievement. Elimination will come into its debut during Season 2. The mode lands, it will show up in matchmaking as a rotational playlist and be made available in custom games. To help make sure the medic achievement is always attainable, outside matchmaking, they're updating its underlying requirements to allow it to also be unlocked in customs. We hope this will help all the achievement hunters out there. Note, confusion about motion tracker. In Season 2, they'll be enabling the quote-unquote edge functionality for the motion tracker in all social playlists. This means that players who are sprinting, shooting, or operating vehicles are just out of range. It will now show up on the outer fringe of the motion tracker. The inside of the motion tracker will continue to detect walking, sprinting, shooting, and operating vehicles besides blips. To be more specific, the motion tracker distance will be 18 meters with edge functionality at 30. BTB will be 24 meters, edge functionality set to 40. We'll be listening to feedback here, so once this rolls out the door, be sure to let us know what you think of this. Big Team Battle. Feedback desire for more BTB maps and modes. Feedback for the multiplayer announcer, aka Chess Starcer, to be heard of BTB. Desire for members of the fire team to show up in your intro camera lineup. Desire for equal vehicle drops, including the symmetrical modes like Slayer and Total Control. Note, weapon rock spawns are not always symmetrical in BTB. Maps and modes, we have some great BTB maps going through the arting process at the moment. The longest part of map development that we're excited about releasing in its future. For Season 2, we're dropping Breaker into the mix, which features a giant moving laser that cuts across the center of the map and destroys anything that kids call its beam. It's a tighter and faster playing BTB map that feels different than anything we currently have. We're excited to play with everyone BTB as soon as Season 2 launches. Feedback. Desire for the multiplayer announcer. While we believe in the concept of Commander Agria giving you orders and feedback for your battle training during PTB, one thing that ultimately felt missing was the metal feedback, so it also didn't feel right having her shout overkill in the same way as Jeff. For Season 2, Steitzer is in to call you medical accolades to keep the hype going while the Commander will still be there for your field view. Oh cool, so they're gonna have both. That satisfies both. In BTB, the teams of 12 into 3 squads of 4, which the players you send in your camera shots. Season 1, we made it so your fire team would always appear as part of your squad. And we're going after this lineup grouping in this feature update. The update will prioritize your fire team members appearing in your squad. As you can see your friends within the lineup, with larger file teams, it will still leave chances of the odds spawned out, but generally you should generally see yourselves and be together as you come as one. Feedback, desire for total vehicle drops. Pelican drops in BTB can indeed fall. I think we've identified the root cause. We'll share this as effects as we get closer. Please to note that we're tracking this and we'll get it addressed. Weapon rack spawns are not always symmetrical in BTB. We have addressed in Season 2 build. Instances of uneven weapon spawns on symmetrical placements were not intentional, and were due to issues with these settings on those specific weapon racks. In these instances, both teams should have the same weapon in their weapon racks. If you spot any more uneven weapon rack on symmetrical maps, be sure to let us know. Matchmaking. Feedback in ranked. Players are reporting teammates are out of their depth. Feedback in ranked. Desire for champion rank. In ranked, the amount of CSR goes up and down. It's confusing. Many players like a reconnect / rejoin or forfeit feature, especially for ranked. Desire for more player agency to choose experiences via match composer. Desire to opt out of crossplay for various reasons. Desire for original server selection. Feedback in ranked. Players reporting teammates are out of their depth. Ranked is an area we are working and monitoring. There has always been a lot of work going to reduce the difference between the skill between players and competitive. It's our top priority. The recent Hillfence ranked experience, which we highly recommend reading, has our responses to these other ranked themes in greater detail. Feedback and ranked. Desire for champion rank. In regards to champion rank, they're adding it in a future season down the line. CSR progression is dependent on many factors: the outcome of the match, your performance, and the relative skill of your teammates and opponents. The ranked blog provides more specifics on this one. Additionally, we have some confusion on how the CSR updates appear on the screen after a match. Currently, the meter shows your total session progress in a ranked since launch you launched the game, which we understand is a bit confusing, especially when trying to determine the impact of it. When Season 2 launches, the SR progression bar will be updated to show the progress made from your recent match. This should help communicate better the impact that the most recent match had on a player's rank. Many players like reconnect / rejoin or forfeit. We have a lot of things, especially for ranked, we have a lot of things we're working on to help mitigate player pain when a player quits or disconnects from a match. While they won't make the launch of Season 2, the integrity of ranked matches is a priority for us, and they will continue iterating on to improve it. Feedback. Desire for more player agency to choose experiences in Season 2. We have more regular rotation to our playlist, rotating out the less popular ones and put up new ones for players to dive into. Season 2's launch will also bring the new map and favorite mode King of the Hill to multiple players on day 1. Long term, they're looking at more options for players to have more autonomy over what they're wanting to play while maintaining healthy matchmaking. Expect more updates on this one. Feedback. Desire to opt out of crossplay for various reasons. We believe supporting crossplay is our primary avenue for players to make important for maintaining healthy and popular matchmaking experience for players to find matches quickly. There's work on our feature list. We're looking to give feature updates along with improvements to our anti-cheat system to help ensure better match-made experiences. Feedback. Desire for regional server selection. Since launch, they've already done some work to help improve it, such as Australia will continue monitoring and making updates during the lifetime of this game. It was mentioned in our online experience that it's worth reinstating this past 2. If we ever feel like the matches we are making do not meet player expectations or quality, they'll evaluate additional means of improving it, including considering features like a server selection similar to MCC or search preferences similar to Halo 5. More down the road. Next headed. Here we go. Custom games in Forge. Feedback. Feedback desire for more adjustable game modes in custom games. Feedback desire for additional bugs. Custom game browser. Desire for Forge to arrive as soon as possible. Multiplayer team responses. Desire for more adjustable game mode custom options and customs. 100%. They completely agree with this one. Extensibility is a core pillar of Halo Infinite, and customs play an important part in this. For players to make an endless assortment of game modes, their plan is to continue expanding it over time. We have an ever-expanding list of custom game options on our backlog. We're working through to create more flexibility and customs to build way more game modes and player control and the settings. This coupled with the coming launch of Infinite's incredibly powerful Forge to give players infinite possibilities to create new gameplay experiences. Desire for additional bug fit. They address custom game bugs For Season 2, we'll continue addressing them to improve the customer experience. If you run into any issues while running a custom game lobby, be sure to submit a ticket for them on the Halo support site, so they can properly investigate them. Desire for custom game browser it is something we are deeply passionate about, and we are happy to say the team is in an early stage of production for it. Forge, oh boy. It broke our hearts to not be able to launch Forge alongside the rest of Infinite, but to ensure it makes the bar exciting for it to achieve this massive overhaul to Forge and Infinite, just wasn't able to make it out before the end of the year. It's very much last year, I mean. It is very much another generational leap forward in what will be capable and bring much of the many community's highly requested features, which we believe will greatly empower the community to build way more impressive and creative gameplay experiences to Infinite. That's why I'm kind of the reason why you should have delayed the game again, but whatever. It's dead at this point. Anyway, personal AI and Spartan Shatter. Granular controls to each in-game's voice, personal AI, Spartan Shatter multiplayer announcer. Since launch, they've been addressing a lot of feedback around how much the game says quote-unquote talking, have been using the tools at our disposal to improve it. Season 2, you should hear a better balance of combat shatter and feedback across the multiplayer. Basically, you should generally hear less of it, with a great emphasis on what's important for players to understand. They're going to continue to evaluate the health of it, as well as evaluate the option to add more for players in the future. Sandbox team response. We are aware of distinct issues related to shot registration and players rubber banding or warping. Is working on improvements in all areas. Specifically for Melee, they will have improvements. Melee you can look forward to that should resolve some of the warping and phrasing that happens when players melee each other. When they melee, there's a brief quote-unquote rebound window where they can go airborne and bounce backwards. However, they've also have air control during this. Since you generally hold forward while melee, you'll end up moving forward during this window. Combine that with two players both holding forward, you may see players face through each other. To help reduce them, we're adjusting the melee rebound behavior, which should lower the possibility of overlapping positions while in close quarters. Another fix they have adjusted the melee launch accuracy. Aim should better snap toward your target on a successful launch, helping keep your target in view for successive melees, reduce the need to spin around, and hopefully reduce instances of quote-unquote whiffing, which typically occurs when the target is towards the edge of your screen. Weapons. Mangler is prominent in high level, especially with its one-shot melee. Many players find the Ravager's damage output to be underwhelming. Many players have reported that the pulse carbine is hard to use. Similar to above, the pulse is also viewed as not being effective enough. Some players report that aiming is too loose and hard with the commando. I agree with that. Some players would like for the gravity hammer to have a faster attack that can be activated by the melee action, not deplete the ammo. Feedback. Rocket launcher damage is inconsistent, leading to confusion around the radius. Responses. They have made some adjustments to melee as overall as it's curbing the Mangler's one-shot beatdown. I had a feeling that was coming, unfortunately. For Season 2, they reduce global melee damage, as they noted before, by 10%, which will reduce the Mangler's melee proportionally to not be a two-shot. The BR and ranked will maintain its melee damage to ensure it stays a two-shot beatdown as well. Many players find the Ravager's damage output to be underwhelming. In addition, the Ravager's splash damage in the base non-charged shot will be increased for Season 2. Good. Feedback. Many players have reported the pulse carbine is hard to use. Also, the pulse pistol field not being... here we go. Beyond that, they're also tracking issues with the pulse carbine, plasma pistol, and commando, and are aware they're underperforming. After the Mangler, Ravager, and melee changes are in, they're going to evaluate their performance in the meta and make adjustments to the other weapons as necessary. Some players would like for Gravity Hammer to have a faster attack that be activated by the melee. As for the Gravity, an additional melee striker we would like to support as well. It's on our radar for a future update. Rocket launcher feels inconsistent. Lastly, we are working on improving the rocket splash damage to make it feel more consistent and reliable. IFF recognition, aka player outlines. Feedback shield flare effects could communicate upon shield state better. Some players believe shields flare up too much too fast. Desire for more options remain, including the ability to turn them off. Shield flare effects could communicate an enemy's shield state better. Some players believe it. They agree that the shield effect should better communicate the opponent's shield state. That's something they will be addressing. Desire for more options remain, including the ability to turn them off. In Season 2, they're adding the ability to modify the values of it above the thickness of opacity for the outlines, building the fully off functionality per team and holding it into a player's position will take more time, but philosophy, we are aligned with solid players to customize their honest desired experience. Equipment. Drop wall feels like it does not offer enough protection. Many players believe the overshield is not providing enough extra shield health. Some players prefer that an overshield player state, while OS versus sliver OS is not apparent. Drop wall, they just said that they agree with the drop wall and overshield sentiment. They're not providing enough benefit. Coming in Season 2, they will have some balance tweaks to make both of these equipment that should help them perform better. Some of the shields they affect the OS shield state is also on the radar as well. We could better communicate. Expect to see revisit on those effects in a future update. Movement. Movement, desire for increased player impulses to help with grenade jumping. Some players also like no player collision, while most would like it to return. Feedback, desire for increased physics impulse to help grenade jumping. Regarding the desire for increased physics, that's something that a sensitive area between the fun and legacy player expect in a Halo game, and balancing around a competitive shooter in a way that feels exciting but maintains consistency. Pushing it too far results in players being thrown around too much, exacerbating existing grenade ban issues. We think we have a good middle ground between these two, but as always continue to monitor. Some players like player collision, while most would like it to return. Collision was turned off for allies to reduce frustrating moments of getting hung up on friendlies in tight spaces, or back into allies and feeling like you're hitting a wall. We feel like this keeps things cleaner and also lets combat flow more naturally. However, they're aware of the community sentiment and are discussing future mitigations. They could also want to include making an option players can switch on and off in customs. Control players believe mouse and keyboard have the advantage. Mouse and keyboard players feel controller players have the advantage. So it's like back and forth. Using the scroll wheel to change weapons on mouse feels inconsistent and could lead a player to accidentally swap back to original weapons. Nope. Some controller players believe aim assist stops mid-game upon a shield break or when jumping. Players are concerned that weapons in magnification does not properly correlate with sensitivity settings. We are aware of the sentiment between controller versus mouse and keyboard effectiveness and are analyzing the data now to find precise answers. Looking initially at it, they could say it's not a black and white issue as each input method lends benefits to different aspects. This isn't a simple topic with a clear-cut solution, but they do plan on addressing any disparities as best as we can while playing to the strengths of each input. Look more for this in a future update. Feedback. Using scroll to change weapons on mouse feel inconsistent. It could lead a player to accidentally swap back. Regarding the scroll wheel issue, there is something already targeted fix for after Season 2. Note, some controller player believes aim assist stops mid-game on opponent's shield break or when jumping. When it comes to aim assist, there is no intended moments where aim assist turns off on shield break or jumping. However, we have seen players report that this could be happening under certain conditions. In our investigating, again, this would be a bug though, as there is no instances where you have your weapon up in the range of the opponent so you get aim assist when firing. Note, players are concerned that weapons in magnification does not properly correlate. They've also seen conversations online about sensitivity zoomed in. Due to feedback received ahead of launch, the default zoom sensitivities are slightly slower than previous Halos that allow for more fine-tune. However, since being able to replicate the film of those games is critical, players can match previous settings by adjusting their zoom sensitivities the following: 1.4 zoom sensitivity 1.3, 2.5 zoom sensitivity 1.3, 3x zoom sensitivity 1.3, 5x zoom sensitivity 1.2, 6x zoom sensitivity 1.2, 10x zoom sensitivity 1.2. The aiming experience is critical to any FPS, and we want to make sure it always feels as good as possible. Thank you for your feedback. And this area is so far in place, keep it coming. Alright, last 3. UX UI feedback. Many players believe that vertical menus would improve the customization process. Desire to have challenges appear on the start menu while in a multiplayer match. Inability to see second grenade type in HUD left some disappointed. Some would like HUD customization. The flow to quote-unquote mute a player takes more steps than previous Halo tests, causing some confusion. Due to lack of in-game messaging, players didn't know why they were banned or for how long, causing frustration. Team responses. They believe that vertical menus would improve the customization. We agree that our customization presentation needs help and have been putting together a plan over time to improve it. While there always be quality of life improvements, the existing flow prioritized in the term, they will be connecting larger efforts like the menu layout and navigational changes to upcoming future releases. Desire to have challenges appear on the start menu. As many of you had noted, challenges did appear on the pause menu during flooding last summer. The reason it was removed because there were larger system limitations that prevented from displaying incremental challenge progress during the match. This would often lead players to think their progression wasn't being tracked. While we sort out how to better achieve it, we will be bringing a simpler, more static list of current challenges back to the pause menu so players can use it as a quick reference in matches. Good to know. Initially, to see second grenade time in HUD left some disappointed. While we continue to have prioritization discussion around short and long-term HUD improvements, having backpacks as secondary grenades valuable multiplayer will be inbound as part of a coming update. Feedback. Some would like HUD customization options. Options have certain aspects of the HUD layout more configurable are actively being worked on. It is way off, but the first target is allow players to choose to display their equipment next to the radar, similar to Halo Reach and Halo 4. Feedback. The flow to mute a player takes more steps than previous Halo games, causing some confusion. Many players from the backboard scoreboard during cable is currently being worked on. They are releasing this as part of a larger short-term effort to enhance our player reporting and anti-cheat features. Feedback. During the lacking game messages, players did not know why they were banned and for how long, causing frustration. We are continuing to expand our player reporting / anti-cheat features to include better in-game messaging to our player that have been put on cooldown. It will be coming online once we get our first round of quality life improvements I mentioned in the previous point. And we are closing out. We are excited to continue improving the game, and your input is a critical part of the process, so keep it coming. If you want to participate in surveys and future flights, be sure to register for the Insider Program. To provide feedback beyond surveys, we encourage you to join the discussion on forums, Twitter, Reddit, etc. We pay attention to them all equally. As a reminder, if you ever run into any bugs or issues with the game itself, please file a ticket to the Halo support team at link listed below so the team can look into it. And last but not least, if you ever had our closer blogs that dive into the future behind the scenes, we highly encourage you to check them out. The recent blogs share the inner workings of specific Halo Infinite systems and detailed steps we're taking to improve them. Thank you for your continued support and feedback during Season 1. Stay tuned for the next blog with the live team, and we'll catch you online. Okay, so that's it for that. So I'd say it's probably definitely in depth. I mean, there's still some parts that I skipped over, such as the PC stuff, how they're talking about anti-cheat and all that. This video will be, over half an hour at this point, and it's getting close to that, so I'm kind of glad it seems that they're now starting to, I guess, talk more, which is always a good thing, because, I mean, they've kind of voiced their frustrations as well as we are, so that things are not moving as fast, but, it's going to be a long and painful journey, so it's kind of important that we keep voicing, our feedback so they can take them and address them. So, like they said, keep, voicing, feedback that you have, but, let them know. So, it's important. So, alright, this video is coming up. So, I don't think I really have much else to say at this point. So, what do you guys think? So, thank you all for checking this video out. If you like this video, hit the like button, comment down below, and consider subscribing to the channel so you do not miss out on any more content, Halo related or otherwise. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.